What if manifestation wasn't about forcing, grinding, or toxic positivity, but about healing what's been quietly shaping your choices, relationships, and your self worth? She Manifested That is where Black women come to share the real stories behind their manifestations, the healing before the blessings, the boundaries that made space for breakthroughs, and the self trust that changed everything. So if you're ready to manifest your next level, join me, Dr. Dré Cleveland, your personal power coach, and some incredible Black women, and let our stories reflect the life you've lived and the one you're calling in. Stay tuned, sis, and grab your cup of tea, because, girl, this is just another way to get your life together. This episode of She Manifested That is powered by Girl Get Your Life Together, created for Black women to heal, love, and manifest the life they deserve. Hey, sis, welcome to She Manifested That, the podcast where Black women come to share the real stories behind the blessings, breakthroughs, and manifestations they've brought into their lives. I'm Dr. Dré Cleveland, your personal power coach, and I'm the host of this podcast. And normally I'll be interviewing tons of amazing Black women who are sharing their manifestation stories. But today I am here talking with my amazing sisters from other misters, Ms. Jackie Calendar and Cynthia Marie Bryan, about how I manifested our inaugural Selfie Ball this past October 2025. So this is going to be a really fun story. So let's get into it. First, I want to introduce Jackie and Sin. How y'all doing?
Hey girl, hey girl. We're good. I'm good. I'm good. How you doing?
I'm awesome and amazing.
Hey girl, hey. How are things?
Pretty good. Pretty good. I'm excited. I know like we're really just starting this off. And I appreciate y'all being here to have this conversation with me. It's definitely it's definitely gonna be one for the books, I tell you that, because while manifestation is a thing that we talk about all the time, there's always gonna be those manifestations that definitely take another level of you, right?
True.
Like, and there's going to be the ones where it's really easy and you can look back later and say, "Oh yeah, I did X, Y, and Z." And
Mm-hmm.
then there are those, and this is one of those where it was really a conscious decision to do something that was way bigger than anything that I ever thought of doing in my life. And it definitely called something of the right.
I'm sure it did. I'm sure it did. I remember just talking about the selfie ball, what a little bit more than a year ago, right, Jackie? In
Yeah, I think it was
terms
about
of
that.
like the thought process and whatnot, like what you wanted to do.
Yep.
You didn't really have framework or anything like that, but I know that it was definitely something that's been, let's say, brewing for a long
Mhm.
time.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yep.
Oh yeah, definitely. And even considering, past events we've had, the selfie ball was just it was kind of like taking some of those old things we've done, but putting a different spin on it.
Right.
Mhm. Mhm. Yep, 100%. And also like a big part of that too for me was really just having a space to put something out, like you said, like a kind of a culmination of the work that we generally do, but bringing it to like starting the process of bringing it to a wider audience, because you know how we've been pretty secretive with our sister circle and and the things
We
that
have.
Yep.
That we
you know,
have. That we have.
right? It was very exclusive and more by invite only, right? But I definitely knew, like I felt in my spirit for a long time that this was something that it had to get rearranged, and it had to be something that was going to be openly accessible to more Black women at once.
Hmm.
Because I always had the thought, like especially like when we're inside the sister circle, the work that we're doing is powerful, and it has to be released out into the world, right? We still have the idea and the structure of a
sister circle that is still very exclusive feeling, very much a sisterhood, right? But right now, that's just the container. That's just the community. That's how women find us and get introduced to us and become part of our circle. But things like the selfie ball are an initiation for them, in my opinion.
Right.
This is the first time that something like that has ever occurred.
You sure it was the first time?
No,
Yes.
it's not.
Well, okay. To be fair, yes, we have had other events. When it was the Power Players Club, when we had the Players Club, like we definitely had what we would call a big event,
Mm-hmm.
right? Took absolutely not the same type of energy as it did to create this selfie ball. But here's why I say that. This is why I say that. Two things. One, because the other events, yes, they took something, but they didn't call me to a level of myself that I didn't already know I was.
Hmm.
Mhm.
This was the first time that I included large sponsorship.
Okay.
Mhm.
For whatever reason, it's just not a thing that my brain oriented around, right?
Okay.
Even when I had sponsors, or even when I would have like vendors for things, it would be very modestly priced, right?
Okay.
Um, and if you guys remember, like even with the sister circle, it was always modestly priced, right? And everybody would always, like, any mentors or people that I had that I worked with, they always go, "Why you charge so little?" Right?
Mm.
And I would always say, "Oh, because I wanted to be accessible to the community," which is true, right? And that's one of our values, right? At Girl Get Your Life Together, that things are accessible, but accessible and damn near free, where you might as well not have a business. Is
Say it again, girl. Say it again.
That part right
What?
there.
What? Say it again.
right, exactly. Those things are two different things, right? And so, for this to happen, especially with the just the sheer amount of expenses, this was also the most expensive
Mm.
event that I ever did. This was equivalent of a wedding.
Out the girl. Come on with it.
Yes,
Say it. I want you.
definitely.
I want you to
As
say
it
that
should
again
be.
because
Right. Yeah.
in my experience, I mean, we've known each other, a few years. Um, but I've definitely seen you. I was there for your wedding. So for me, it sounds like the same energy and the same want and the same passion and dedication and focus really
Mhm.
that I know that you had behind your wedding and all of the little details and all of the things. I think that this is exactly what happened also in this space. Um,
Mhm.
so let's backtrack a little bit. Tell us a little bit about the groundwork behind it. Like, where did the idea come from? And then like what you were feeling and how you moved through some of that process.
Hold
Um,
on. Hold on. Before she gets into that though,
mhm.
especially since we're talking about how, you had to go into parts of yourself.
Mhm. Mhm.
Describe yourself in 5 words, especially where it
Okay.
comes into this.
Oh, well, as it relates to this, I'm gonna say I definitely am relentless. And I didn't know that about myself. I mean, maybe I did know that about myself, but I definitely found spaces in myself where there was a sense of, you know, it it just is gonna happen, right? And I guess I did always have that in myself. Maybe that's why manifesting things is usually fairly easy for me, right? Because I don't generally have a thought of it's not gonna happen. Right? It
Mm.
just is.
Mm.
I may not know how it's gonna happen, but I do know it's gonna happen, even in the face of great adversity. And there was great adversity at times with this process. So I'm definitely gonna say relentless. I'm also gonna say um, grace, graceful, because there were a lot of times where there had to be a lot of grace given, working with a lot of different people, a lot of moving parts, things not happening when they were supposed to happen, and just a lot of personalities. Grace is evident, right? And I think I've never been a person who, I don't know the word for this, but let's just say I've never been a person who never gave people a lot of rope to pull. Like, I always, to the point where my mom was like, I think you give too much. I think you you almost let people get away with way too much, right? And I think I found a balance here, right? Because there's a fine line, and I'm learning that now, right? There's a fine line between giving grace but the thing has to get done. So, can't, give so much leeway to the point where you're kind of left between a rock and a hard place at the last minute because you didn't, account for those other things. So I think I'm also going to add resourceful to that. Resourceful. Because I definitely had to pull things from a lot of different areas, right? Because everything's not going to always go the way that you exactly want it to go. That's just it, right? It's just not. So having backup plans, having backup vendors, having backup ways to promote the event, right, in the first place, right? Like, just all of that, all of those moving parts. Like, you have to have multiple paths for it to travel, multiple paths for all of it to come together. And I definitely know that being resourceful played a big part in that. I'm also going to say calm. I feel like I've always been calm, right, Geraldine? Like, I've been
You're
pretty,
generally a calmer
Yeah.
personality. Yeah.
right, very calm, right?
Sometimes
But
too calm.
sometimes too calm, right?
True.
Like, you
Very
know
true.
what? But I'll say this, right? Because I think, and maybe this is good, right? Like, what this called for me in general is balance. Right?
Hmm.
Matter of fact, I'm gonna circle back to that because I think that's gonna be my last word, right? Because that's what all of this has called for me, is to be more balanced. Like, there's a lot of things that I've always been a lot of, and while on some level they could be seen as good qualities or nice qualities, sweet qualities, they don't always work when
Mm.
you are in a business situation. And this particular project definitely called me to call in other parts of myself that I didn't operate the muscle of a lot, right? So that definitely was one. But what I was saying is that, I had to lean on that calm nature of mine,
Okay.
because there was a lot of times where the anxiety was anxietying, and you those are the times where it's easy to mess up something that you're trying to bring forth into the world, where you get kind of sucked into the anxiety, sucked into
Mm.
all the what ifs, and how this could go wrong, or
Mm-hmm.
boy, it is going wrong.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
it's real easy to get sucked up in that. But I relied on that calm to kind of help me to be like, you know what, right now I can't worry about that. Matter of fact, right now I'm gonna watch YouTube. Right now I'm gonna watch a movie
Sometimes
on
you
that.
need that for that downtime.
Yes,
Yes.
right. Because otherwise I would have made myself crazy, you
Hmm.
know, doing that. But it was that access to that calm that I had that was speaking to me in those moments that allowed me to kind of shift to that versus kind of hang out in the anxiety.
I like that. I like that.
Yeah.
And it is, for you to be able to articulate it in that way is great, because in this space, yes, there's definitely a different type of assertiveness. I think that's probably the word you were
Mm-hmm.
looking for earlier, that you had to have. You know, we talk about doing events all the time, and you have a tendency to say, okay, this is what I want to do. Hey, you know, everybody in their respective fields, you do this, right? But I think
Mm-hmm.
with this particular project, you were more hands-on. So in the space, you were able to kind of flex those muscles and develop some of the
Yeah.
characteristics necessary
Yeah.
to do from start to finish, right? And it wasn't about allowing somebody else to complete the vision for you. It was literally you being staunch about completing your vision. So I think
Right.
um that's fabulous for you to hone, to refine, and to just be able to see it for yourself. So backtracking now to the other question of, tell us a little bit about where the Selfie Ball was born, and why you felt so staunch about it has to happen.
Right.
Well, that's a great question, because in my mind, it had to happen 2 years ago.
I mean,
But, you know,
4,
like, there's
5, 6, it's okay.
right, let's just who's counting? Who is really counting when we think about it, right? But, and even that, right? Like, there were I had the idea for a while, but you know how we get, right? God gives you
Mhm.
an idea, the seed is planted, and you might sit on it. You might sit
Yeah.
on it for a while, right? And I did sit on it until I realized that I couldn't.
Mm,
It was
Yeah.
definitely something that was pulling me, and it was
Mhm.
something that was telling me like, "Oh no, this has to happen." I didn't even have a goal, to be fair with you, right? I have a
mm,
business mentor, and you know, she asked me while I was in the middle of planning it, and we were working on some questions that I had, and she was like, "What's your goal with this? Like, are you trying to like make some money? Are you trying?" I was like, "I don't know. I didn't think about that part." Like, that was not I didn't have any of those I didn't have business thoughts about this. I'll
mhm,
say that. That's
Mhm.
what I'm trying to say, right? I didn't have business thoughts about this event. What I knew was I needed to create a space for Black women to see themselves clearly, to
okay.
see
Yeah.
themselves as beautiful and capable and powerful, and just have a space for us to celebrate ourselves. And when I first had the thought, Cynthia, you remember this, we went to the Bridgerton Ball.
We did.
We went to
That's
the
right. Y'all
Bridgerton
did.
Ball. Yep. And so that's where I actually had the idea. I was like, I should do
Okay.
a ball. My
And
brain.
Bridgerton was lovely. So yes, I'm down.
Right. It was an amazing event, but what I was looking at, especially us, right? Because obviously it was a mixed crowd there, but
Mhm.
our group of women that came, and we all had ball gowns on, and and
Mhm,
tiaras,
Mhm.
and we were in a space that was there to be elegant and beautiful, and
mhm,
all of that, right? And then so my mind went to, wouldn't it be amazing to have something like this that just celebrates the power and beauty of Black women?
mm,
Okay.
So that's how the idea was born,
mhm, mhm, mhm.
but I sat on it, right? Because again, we went to that ball probably 2 years ago,
We did.
Yeah.
March,
right?
March
So
Yeah.
2.
then, in that respect, got another question for you. So, what was actually going on in your life at the time that you finally decided that this now needs to take place?
I think it was just the shift to, like I was saying earlier, that I really realized that it's time to really put Girl Get Your Life Together, the Sister Circle, the whole thing on the map. Like, not no more like it's play. And I'm not gonna say play like that, because like I said, the work that we do internally is really powerful, but it was also very insular, right? It's really just always us and whoever, we just kind of brought into the fold, like a secret society, or like a sorority kind of, right? Which is great,
Mhm.
but I was like, mm-mm. I was like, there is something about the work that we are doing, that it has to be able to reach more people more quickly, in a
Mhm.
more powerful way.
Mhm,
And so I said to myself, self,
And yourself said,
Yeah. And myself said, And then I said, self, it's time to actually create the selfie ball. For whatever reason, there's no more time to wait. This is the time that it has to happen. And funny enough, because again, you know how the universe is, right? I had already planted the seed 2 years ago, but you don't always know the how, and you don't know how things are going to align themselves. So as I was getting that inkling and it became stronger, I started hearing the messages to myself. It was like, and not only does it have to be this year, it has to be in October. And I was like, October, because I was going through the months. I was like, when should I have it? When could it be? And I was like, oh, my birthday month. My birthday's in September, right? So I was like, oh, it could be like a birthday party, and then we could just have, right? No, I felt that as a no. I was like, nope, it's not September, October. I said October. I said, okay. I mean, it's close to my birthday, so all right,
Yeah.
maybe, right? That wasn't the reason. Soon as I decided that it was gonna be in October, and I kid you not, cannot make this up, and y'all know how this goes. No sooner did I say it has to be in October. I looked at the calendar. I says, obviously got to be on a Saturday because we got a party all night, so you got to be able to sleep on Sunday,
that's right.
That's
right?
right.
October 11th was the one that jumped out at me. I was like, I don't know, for whatever reason, by hook or crook, it has to be that day. None of those other dates felt good to me. And also it's an 11, and I like 11 because I'm also 11 life path, right? So 11 is one of my favorite numbers. But not only that, like that felt like that was the right day. And I kid you not, I just opened up Instagram and there was a video that popped on about a lady talking about National Black Girls Day Off.
Mm-hmm.
You know what day Black Girls Day Off is on?
10/11.
Yep.
Is on October 11th. And I had no clue that that was a thing that existed. Did not know that until that moment when I saw that video. Right after I just tapped into that, that's the day that it had to be on. And I was like, well, that's why it has to be this year. Just the only year in a minute where October 11th is going to be on, well, that Saturday is going to be October 11th and Black Girls Day Off. Because it's
Okay.
always going to be on October 11th. But it's not always going to be on a Saturday, is the point.
And there goes that synchronicity that just
Right.
made it all come together.
Exactly. Exactly. Right. And that's how it goes, right? That's how the universe operates. Right. And then that's how you start to see all of the things that are coming together for the good of whatever it is that you're trying to manifest or that you want to create. Right. Breadcrumbs, right? I call them breadcrumbs, right? Because it doesn't all happen at once, right?
Right.
You start seeing it, but you do see that it's clearly lining up. You're like, this is not a coincidence, right?
Like,
To me, there's no such thing as coincidence.
well, obviously, from seeing the video, picking your date, deciding it needed to happen, what other breadcrumbs showed up throughout the process?
Oh, well, so many things. Oh, can I tell you? Let me tell you about my favorite one. Let me tell you about my favorite one. So, you ladies know that one of my favorite people in the self-help personal transformation space is Mama Iyanla Van Zandt.
Girl,
Yes,
listen,
ma'am.
20 plus years deep in that thought
Right.
process.
In that thought process. Because ever since I became a coach, she's always been someone that I looked up to as this is where I see myself. I see myself in her. Funny enough, this is a side note. I didn't know this at the time, but over the course of years, I realized I was like, well, we are a lot alike. It's probably why I see myself in her, right? She's a Virgo, like me, Team Virgo. Yes, ma'am. And she's also a priest in the same tradition as me, to the
Okay.
same Orisha, no less,
Oh,
right? All of those things. All of those things. I was like, I knew I liked you for a reason. But anyway, anyways, so when I had the idea of doing this at the timing that we did it, I said I also want to um, honor other Black women who are doing the work of positively impacting the lives of Black women, right? Women in general, they didn't necessarily have to have a completely Black woman audience, right? But that they are Black women who are impacting the lives of women. And I said, I'm going to name that award the Legacy Impact Award. Meaning that, you know, these women have been doing work for so many years that they have literally left a legacy at this point in the work that they do. And I said, oh, but you know who has to get the biggest award? Mama Iyanla. Because she was always, I always used to say, I'm her protege. She just doesn't know it yet.
That's
She
right.
just doesn't know it yet. But I'm her protege. So I was like, I can't give other people awards and not include her
Right.
in getting an award. And I said, and matter of fact, she's not even going to get the Legacy Impact Award. She is going to get the Legacy Icon Award because she's going to be the only one that ever gets it, because she is part of the thing that keeps me going. Because I'm like, I'm not there yet, because I'm not having the impact that she's having. And that's what I said that I wanted to be doing. Hence why I guess it never felt quite right that the Sister Circle was always so insular, right? How many times y'all heard me say, I was like, it's not quite right yet. That's why I keep changing everything all the time. I was like, this ain't it,
I
right?
know.
It
Every
is,
year we were just like, you changing it again?
right? Like,
Come
man,
on now.
come on, right? But that's part of it. And I operate like that. Like I just listen to how things feel to me, and I know when it's not right. When it's right, it's all systems go, and then it goes like this. When it's not right, it just percolates like this until I get, until it feels the way it feels, and now I know I'm where I'm supposed to be. But anyways, I say all that to say, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna give her the Legacy Icon Award. Do I know Iyanla? No, do not. My brain didn't even make the connection that how you gonna give it to her? How you gonna
No, that's the staunchness. You were like, no, this is gonna happen.
Yep.
Right.
I was like, absolutely, absolutely, indubitably, she's getting this award. I don't care how I get it to her. I even made the award already. I went to awards.com or whatever the name of it, Crown Awards, and I made the award. And it was good quality. That was a crystal.
All right.
I said, because she gonna get this award. Okay. Next
So
thing you know,
seeing, right. And that's where I was, and you were already starting to go into it, because I'm just like, well, okay, you made this award. So clearly something happened after making this award.
oh yes, oh yes. So then my spidey senses started tingling. I was like, how can I get this award to her? Right.
Okay.
So I remembered that one of my spiritual god aunties knows her. I didn't know to the extent of which she knows. I just knew she did, because she had spoken at one of her the events for the kids, right? And I'm sorry, back up. She has a rite to passage program. My spiritual god auntie does, right? And she had invited Iyanla to speak to the kids at one of the workshops. So I know she knows her in some way, but I didn't know how she knows her. I just know she did, right? So I sent her a text one night. I just got the pull. It was 11 o'clock. I kid you not.
They go at 11 again.
Right. PM at that. And I was like, yeah, I have a question. How you think I could get in contact with Iyanla Van Zandt? I said, because I'm her protege and she just doesn't know it. And I want to give her an award at my event, but I need to let her know this. How can I do that? She said, hold on one second. She sent me back a message from Iyanla. I did not expect that. And she was like, tell her thank you. I really appreciate that. And she can contact blah, 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 right, for the details. I was like, you know her enough to text her at 11 o'clock?
Right?
6 degrees of separation, girl.
Right. I didn't expect that. I thought she was going to give me like how she contacted her to speak it. Like I thought it was going to be that. I didn't think she was going to send her a text and then her send back a personal text that way. So lo and behold, to make this story short, I emailed that email address that she gave me. Her assistant did not answer me.
Oh, wow.
I didn't know she was on vacation, but the point is she didn't answer me. So this how you know that synchronicity and those breadcrumbs are at play, because she didn't answer me. Next thing you know, I go to KS Jam, my dance school where I teach at. We're cleaning out the dance school. We go to lunch. And some just tells me to mention this. Why would I say this to the director of the dance school that has nothing to do with any of this? I just happened to mention it. And he's like, oh, then this must be in your destiny, because she's coming to speak at my school's fundraiser in a couple of weeks. And I could get you a ticket to go. It's in Connecticut. I said, that's fine. I went and I started taking out my clients for the rest of that afternoon. I was like, I can't make this stuff up. Had I not said that, would that have ever happened?
Right. That
And there
would
was
have
no
easily been
reason.
a missed opportunity.
Right. And there was no reason for me to say it. Some just was like, tell him this. And sure enough, I drove on a near flat tire. I know I'm crazy. My dad said I'm crazy. I get that. That
Won't be
must
the
be the
first time.
relentlessness. It won't be the first time.
Because you forgot about some of our antics in our early 20s.
Doing too much. So clearly I still do too much. Let's add that to my list of quality.
But what is too much? What
Audacity.
really
It's
is too
audacity. That's
much?
all it is. It's audacity.
It's audacity.
Yes, audacity. But I sure did. When I got there and I looked at that tire, I said, Lord, I hope you get me back to Brooklyn in one piece. I made it. It was real flat when I got home. That was the end of that. But the point is, I got there and back. And he was like, well, I can't really introduce you to her because this is not my event. This is from my school. But if you catch her, that's your opportunity right there. Yes. So that's like, she was there for a while, and I stepped back because I was like, it's not my event. I'm not here to just bogart the thing. But I caught her right at the last minute, because he was like, if you don't catch her right now before the program starts, you might miss her because she has to leave right after. She's really just here to do this, and then she's leaving. And I walked straight up to her when they put her to her seat. They brought her to her seat. I was like, oh no, I got probably 2 minutes. Because if they put her over here to sit down, that means it's time for the program to start. And I went straight over there and I said, hi, Mama Yanla. You don't know me, but I sent your assistant a message. And remember my spiritual guide auntie? And I named her and all of that. She's like, oh, she's like, what you doing here? Right? In other words, those two things have nothing to do with each other, right? Which is the fun part about it, right? The two events had nothing to do with each other. So, but I was telling her, I wanted to give her an award. That's why I was contacting her. I was like, and I even have the award here. And I showed her, she's like, oh, this is beautiful. This is really nice. But she wanted me to mail it to her. She didn't want to carry it because she didn't have room, because she just in and out. Right. She didn't want to carry it with her. But anyways, the point is, she saw the award. She knew she was having the award, and she now knows that I'm her protege. So I can't say she doesn't even know it yet, because she absolutely does.
Well, that's great.
Right.
Yeah. So that was the best part of all of this. But anyways, a lot of different things like that happened, especially as it relates to my sponsors, my people that showed up at the last minute to become part, people who I didn't even expect, like people who I'm over here thinking I'm doing all this to generate sponsorship. I make a phone call over here, this person gives me $500, like that kind of thing. Right. But again, that's how things tend to go when you are not really focused on that it has to go that way. You might know it has to go a certain way. In other words, it has to happen, right? But you don't always know where the crumbs are gonna fall from. Crumbs is a terrible word for that, but you know what I mean. You don't know where they're gonna come from necessarily.
It just seems like just being open to the possibility.
Yeah.
Like as long as you keep yourself open, things will come somehow, some way. You never know who,
Hmm.
what, when, where, how, but somehow, some way, it will just come.
Yeah, 100%. Because that was even true about being sold out for the
Oh,
Selfie Ball.
nice.
And I didn't even realize, first of all, in retrospect, I realized more people could have fit inside of there. It's a way bigger space than I thought it was. But I was just going by like how much I was willing to pay for like catering and et cetera, and all of
Right.
that. And I had a goal and I just said it's going to be 70 women in here, 70 people. And there was a lot of times real close to October 11th where there was not 70 people. I was like, oh my goodness, how am I going to get this to happen? When I tell you, I don't know how that happened, but it did. In fact, we may have had a little bit over 70 people in there because there was a couple of people who did everything at the last minute. But I
Sure.
let them. But I let
But
them. It's okay.
and
Right.
granted, it helped because it all worked out even a little
Hmm.
better than you expected, and even for inaugural, at least gave you a baseline to work with.
Hmm. Yep, exactly, exactly. And a lot of things to know what to do and what not to do in the future. Like,
Mhm.
now that I have the framework, I can have
Mhm.
a team of people to do it because I could be like, do this, just do
Mhm.
this,
Early enough.
right?
And
Because
and that
now I know.
and being able to stretch yourself, at least you know what exactly you need to delegate. It's not one of those type of things where, okay, that person does it, but you have no clue what actually needs to be done.
Right.
Hmm.
So you've created this bigger picture for yourself.
Yeah, yep, exactly, exactly. Um, and there's a blueprint for everything, right?
Mhm.
So there's all the assets, there's all the, at this point, it's just turnkey,
Yep.
right? But I definitely did all of it pretty much myself. Like outside of, like I said, the people who literally just came in was like, what can I do? Even the day of. Because I didn't even think, like, my brain, I'm telling you, I'd be so focused on a vision sometimes, small things be
Mhm.
out the window. Like, hey, don't you need people to actually help you set it up? Who's gonna do it? Yeah, that
Yeah.
is a question you're supposed to ask yourself. But gratefully, the universe got my back and was like, oh, let me bring some
Let me
people
just
here.
go ahead and send some people on in for you.
Right. They're just gonna ask you if you need them to help you. And that's exactly what happened. And it was exactly enough people, including the people, the staff of the caterers. They actually set up downstairs. They were like, do you need help? We could just do this part. They could do upstairs, we'll do downstairs. I said, oh, thank you. Thank you. I love y'all. Because, yeah, certain things you don't think about till after the fact.
This is true.
But
But
here
I
we are.
mean,
So after all of your experience with the selfie ball and just seeing how things come together, what would you say is the best blueprint for manifestation if you could offer a blueprint?
Well, I can offer a blueprint. um, but let's see. I will say I will make it simple because here's the thing. It is simple. It's not exactly easy because we get in our way, right? And that's one of the things that we'll be talking a lot about in my signature program, which is called Black Girls Manifest. We get in our way a lot of the time of our manifestations. And I actually want to say that's one of the biggest pieces of the blueprint. Figuring out how to remove your ego, your all the ways that you generally can be being that may block the manifestation, right? Like we talked about the balance in the beginning and developing that. But a lot of that balance was really identity work, right? Like what version of me has to be present for this manifestation to happen? Because there are definitely parts of me, like I said, I can be too gracious, I could be too
Mm.
calm, I could be too a lot of things, and this wouldn't have happened for that girl. right?
Mhm.
And so a lot of the blueprint, while there is a simple blueprint for manifestation itself, very simple, right? You set it with intention. You say, this is what's going to happen,
Mhm.
right? You believe that it's going to happen and you let go of how it's going to happen. That's important, right? And then you start following those breadcrumbs, right? The ways that God, the universe, is showing you that it's all already working in your favor. Because that's always going to happen. That's always going to happen. Those things are going to happen. The reason why it's not easy, that's the simple part. The reason why it's not easy is because there's a human in the way,
Mm.
right? That
Mhm.
person is the one that often blocks whatever's already coming. And so a lot of the work is aligning you to this manifestation that you are working on, especially if it's something that feels big to you. And the only reason why something feels big to you is because you are not yet the person who's able to hold it. If it
Mm.
feels like it's out of reach, even if it's something that you have asked for or wanted for a really long time, if it feels out of reach, it's only because I am not yet the woman who can hold that manifestation. Or if I have gotten inklings of it, it's come and gone. Just like people who win the lottery, they're not really the person who can hold on to lottery level money. Say lose it within 5 years. That's a fact. That's something that has been studied, right? But we all have things like that. So either we never actually touch that thing, or if we do get just the inkling of it, it doesn't often last long because we haven't yet become the person who can hold that. When do you ever notice the things that you're able to manifest the easiest are things you don't think nothing about. You don't have There's no mismatch. At your core, you're clear that's something that's for you. And there's no mismatch. And then it's easy. It's like water. Some people easily could just money all the time, right? Some people easily, and I'm not gonna say money, right? But just abundance all the time. Like they just don't have a problem with that, right? There are people who easily manifest love and just genuine relationships with people. Don't have a problem, right? And then on the flip side, all of us have those things where those things feel big to us, right? Or you trying to put a project like this together and that feels gigantic to you, right? And so there's a version of you that has to be able to align and meet that manifestation where it is, right? So I want to add that as like the final piece of the manifestation puzzle. And that's often a piece that's missing. That's often the part that people don't talk about, which they want to tell you, oh, it's so easy to manifest. And if you follow me, I'll give you the blueprint and you'll have everything that you ever dreamed of. Absolutely not. Because if that was the case, we'd all be doing that right now.
It's true. That is so true.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And it would make life so much easier.
Right. It would make life so much easier. But we are all clear, everybody knows that that's not exactly the way that that works. Right. And so we have to add that to the manifestation blueprint. Yes. Ask for what you want. Be clear that that's what you want. Don't waver on that that's what you want. Let God, the universe, whatever you want to call that energy, have its way. Let it do the thing that it needs to do.
Mhm.
And you follow the path. Follow the breadcrumbs till you get where your end is in mind.
Mhm.
That's it. But big addendum, probably should be number one, is align who you are at your core with what you say that you want.
Nice.
Yeah, it seems like this taught you a lot about yourself. Um, and it definitely begs the question, who are you now since you have done this event?
Ugh, that is a great question. That is a great question. because the first thing that comes to my mind when you ask me that is who I am now is clear. I'm very clear. I'm clear on what I'm here to do. I'm clear on who I need to be being in this space and what I am supposed to be bringing to the lives of particularly Black women, right? And not necessarily just Black women, right? It could be for anybody, but the reason why I say that is because, we are the blueprint. Speaking of blueprints,
Yep.
right?
Mhm.
We are the blueprint.
Literal
And
blueprints.
the literal blueprint. But not only that, when it's something about the healing of women. Yes, there's healing to be done with men. I'm not excluding that, right? May even do a couple of workshops for men too, right? But there's something about the healing of women, particularly Black women, and the traumas that we have collectively taken and passed down through our generations. It's something about healing that's super powerful because it always starts with us, and we are the portal. We literally birth our children, which means we are taking the DNA and pushing it out into this plane. And energetically, we can change. Now we getting a little deep. I know we at the end, but we can literally change the way that DNA is shaped
Mm.
in our bodies, the way that it expresses itself in
Mm.
our bodies. A lot of our generational trauma comes from or through the womb. In other words, it wasn't healed in our grandmother, so then it wasn't healed in our mother. So now our mother has us and it's not healed in us, right? And it keeps going in that cycle.
Mm.
So the woman that decides to stop that pattern and shift the DNA now births children who are already healed in that area. And that's a powerful mission. And I'm clear that's what I'm here to do. That's just it. Because putting on an event like that and experiencing myself. Now, obviously, this isn't the first time that has happened, but like I said, I've generally been really good at manifesting. Cynthia is, God bless you, but she's she's the main person that will always tell people
Mm.
that she knows that about me.
I've seen it firsthand with my
Yes,
own two eyeballs.
Mhm.
factual, right? But those manifestations, like I said, came from my natural connection to those universal laws, and that just how it goes. And it took me a while to piece together that there was a way that was happening,
Right.
right? That it wasn't, I could say I'm a witch, but then if that's the case, everybody is. It's just that we don't all have access to or awareness or remembering, I will say, of who we are, and that we have that as a way of being. But this particular event reminded me of the blueprint because I had to activate it at every given time. Like I had to literally activate it because I was birthing this thing, not like a thing that I'm like, oh, I wish I had an apartment in this area where I usually like to live, which is what happened. That's a manifestation too. But there was something about this manifestation. I didn't think too much about the apartment, right? All the pieces came together. But you can't just think about an event and then all the pieces come together, right? You get you not something, again, like I said, that feels bigger than you,
Mm.
Mhm.
right? And so working through that and feeling all of the feels and pulling all of the things together internally, I'm talking about, not the things that were coming because the universe does what it does. I'm talking about what was happening inside of me. I said, this is the part that women need to hear. This is the part that's gonna give somebody a breakthrough that they need.
Awesome.
Right.
Yes.
So, anyways, I know that we're at time. And I thank you ladies for being here with me, for being a part of my family, for A lot of years.
A lot of years. Don't even give the people
Girl,
the number. Don't give
that
the
part right
people the
there,
number.
it's been far
Just
too
put a lot of
long.
years. A
A
lot of years.
lot of years. Let's just say
And
since we were children.
not only that, we've seen the growth and
Yeah,
how you actually got here. And it has been it has been really great to be in a part of it and also in the background watching it all come to this point. And the growth that we continue to all do together because
Hmm.
of it,
Indeed.
which is what definitely, I don't know about sin, but this is definitely what part of what keeps me here.
absolutely.
We are very much all in our healing era. So going through all of this with like-minded women has been awesome. And for all of us to grow through all of this together, like y'all are literally some of my sisters in this life. And I don't call everybody that.
True.
Facts.
Very true.
Factual. And I appreciate you saying that. And thank you so much. And side note, y'all got a shout out in in the dedication of Black Girls Manifest in the book, because that's something I definitely feel on a very visceral level. Like the people that are around you as you are growing and evolving in life, you can't take that for granted, because there's not a lot of people that get to
See you
be
through so many stages.
That's right.
right. There's not a lot that get to do that. And what you also just said about like seeing each other grow and evolve along this journey. And I'm happy to be able to be a part of it in ways as a sister, but also as a coach and a catalyst for being able to dig into those deep parts, those parts that do have to be healed, those parts that do have to be shifted in all of us, so that we could be the best versions of ourselves, that are being the mothers of our children, that are being the aunties of other people's children, that are being basically the backbone of the generations that are going to come after us, that because we did this work, they won't have to.
Preach.
Yep.
So that's where we are with that. And again, I thank you all profusely. And I thank all of you that have been listening to this conversation today, because, sis, if I can manifest that, so can you. Your desires are real, your healing is valid, and your next level is already calling your name. And before you go, make sure you download the Manifestation Readiness Check at amireadytomanifest.com. It's a quick, powerful way to see what's standing between you and the life you're calling in. And until next time, keep believing, keep becoming, and keep manifesting. Ciao.
Ciao.
Hey sis, don't go just yet. I want to share something really special with you. Black Girls Manifest is a book and an experience that I created for Black women ready to heal, remember who they are, and manifest from alignment, not struggle. If that's you, visit getblackgirlsmanifest.com and take your next aligned step.